What's up, everybody? It's the Rice Rocketeer. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. Get some fresh air out here in Long Island. Headed back to the city. Gonna stop by the Dainese store. Just a window shop. Today's been a productive week. I've gotten a lot done. I've been studying my ass off. Try to just catch up. I've decided not to do a boot camp for the moment. They're all very expensive, and while I think they're worthwhile, I just can't swing it right now. So, but I'm sold on the fact that this is what I want to do. So I'm in good hands. I'm doing some self-teaching. I'm in JavaScript right now, so I made it through HTML and CSS. Hold on, let me just merge quick. Talk about therapy. All right. So yeah, I'm in JavaScript right now, really trying to understand how all this works. You think a lot differently with this section. So like HTML and CSS. I'm going to do a brief rundown for all you non-technical people, right? I'm going to try to explain it. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript work kind of hand in hand. HTML is the foundation. It's like the groundwork. You're laying out all your text, your images, kind of the skeleton for a web page, which is what I'm focusing on, web pages. So once you get that down, you need to design the text and the style, really everything from the color to the font to where things are laid out on the page, and that all happens in CSS. So HTML and CSS are pretty straightforward, at least for me. Like, it makes sense. Like, it's not foreign concepts. But JavaScript, on the other hand, is a completely different side of the brain. And got a truck. And it requires some like real logistical thinking, and I guess like maybe some people are just used to this, but I for certain am not. And it took a real it was hard. Like, I started it and then I stopped it and had to reset and look up like what I thought I needed to learn in order to understand JavaScript, and I did that about 3 or 4 times, because every time I thought I understood like how to frame it, everything changed. Like, I would get like one chapter further, and then I'd be like, oh, well, that doesn't actually apply. I actually need to know this. So it's just logistical thinking in circles, making kind of mathematical equations, or I guess logic equations. And it's a lot of circular thinking, because like you have to define the tools that you're going to use in an equation. So there's certain terms that are like ultimates, and there are things that are built in to the system. But then you have to also make your own tools that you're going to use, and that it can be based on anything. If you're trying to create a list and try to pick out certain elements of the list, but you only want to pick out certain things in that list, you have to define how that's going to happen. So it's kind of cool, though. It's exciting in that way, because it's like it's rigid, but it's also freeform, and I could see how there's a lot of potential for like flexibility and creativity with this program once you get the hang of it. So I'm excited to kind of conquer it and really understand it. But that's what my week has been about, going back and forth between all of that stuff. So my brain is kind of mush, and I really needed to get out and just shake it off. So that's what I'm doing right now. But I also, about a couple days ago, went out for the first, nah, that's not the first time, that's a lie, but I've been doing it more. I've been being social more. I've been doing like normal people stuff more and trying to be less isolated. Especially now that I'm just like sitting at a computer, I really need to like make an effort to go do something. So my friend called me, and he was like, hey, I'm going to this movie premiere. Do you want to come? And now usually I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that, because it's in Brooklyn. It's in like an area I don't really know Brooklyn, so I was like, but then I was like, no, what are you doing, man? Get out there. So I said, yeah, sure, why not? And I went. I'm glad I did, because we went, and it was actually pretty. I don't want to say pivotal, but it was refreshing. Let's say. The film was like it wasn't a documentary. It was more of like a character piece on something called the Chinatown Soccer Club. If you're in New York, you probably heard of it. I've heard of it when I was younger. I didn't know really what it was. I mean, like, I knew it was a soccer club, but I didn't realize it was like what I found out it was, which was like a really cool, eclectic group of really random people who like to play soccer and get together and who like to be creative. And it was a little expose, if you will, on the kind of the startup era of that club. So there were like, just different people's takes on what New York represents to them, what it means to them, how they got there, why they decided to come here, why they love the soccer club, what they contributed to it. They did a bunch of like collaborations. They had like a collaboration with Adidas, I believe it was, to make a shoe. They made a magazine, like all this really cool stuff that's like not really soccer related. It was really just like soccer was like the thing that brought people together, just like motorcycles, but it was really cool. And like everyone in this film, it was about 30 minutes. It wasn't like a feature length, but it was interesting because every person was so excited by the city, but they also were like me. Some people like grew up here, and they were just like, they acknowledged, they're like, ugh, New York, like fucking traffic, people, like all this shit, garbage everywhere, like it's just, ugh. It's like all this shit that I was complaining about and have been complaining about and so sick of and just wanting to get away from, which is the reason for this channel and this bike. But they found ways to enjoy the city for what it is, because it's such a special place. It is, for better or for worse. This city is really, it's unique. Unique New York. It's very unique. It's something you can't replicate anywhere else, and it's a place that you'd be fortunate to be for like however long or however short. It's a great place, and I used to have that feeling in me, in my chest, but like I've lost it in my in my older years. No, but like in my non-early 20s years. Now that I'm in my 30s, I've just fallen into this like bitter, pissed off, kind of like tired phase, which is like way premature, but it just is. And I left that film feeling like I can still get excited by this place. Like I wanted to know those people in the film. I was like, I want to hang out with these people. Where are these people? And I realized they're here. They're, they're out there. You just gotta get out of that mentality and venture, So I left that event feeling very inspired and reignited about the city, and I'm glad, because like it's shifted my perspective of just like everyday life too. It's like going through every day just kind of like, ugh, is not a nice feeling. And like now I went, I was walking through the city, maybe 2 days after or 1 day after. And I found myself looking up a lot more, like up at the buildings, and just like curious about like, who built that building, like who's lived in those apartments. Like, geez, it's been around forever, right? And like thinking about the structure of the city, which I know a little bit about, but like the fact that, downtown is drastically different from uptown, and naturally different people gravitate to different neighborhoods, and it's stayed pretty much consistent. So like, how does that happen? Just all these like random thoughts about how cool the city is, and I just was like really psyched again. So that's kind of in general where I'm at. And then I also, to double down on this, that same friend who invited me to that event just wrote another article, and he usually sends me the article to like kind of proofread, just for like I like writing, and I like to think I'm a good writer, so I just look for like structural things. He works in tech, so like up until this point, until I've been interested in tech, it's just been jargon to me. Like I haven't really understood it, but I know how to write, so I'd help him in that capacity. So I'd help him write these articles. But anyway, the last article that he sent me, because I'm getting into it, first I did my pass for proofreading. And that was just, I wasn't really taking in any information. And then I actually read it again once he published it, once he got it published. I'll put the link in the description below so you can click it if you're into this type of stuff. He's focusing on AI, and the article, in a nutshell, and I may botch this, but is about AI, the implications of the introduction of AI, the history of kind of the development of the computer and tech in a very broad stroke way, but just looking at the different pivotal moments in technology, namely computers, and how the development of AI is actually quite similar, albeit different and seemingly more revolutionary, because AI, we kind of, we think it's synonymous with like computers taking over the world and like thinking for themselves. It is a big jump, but it also is a similar in impact as previous developments. Again, just different. So, he looks at it from like every perspective, and I just found it really interesting. The main thing that I took away from that was like the idea of abstraction. So like, I'm gonna like get kind of lost in this conversation here, but I want to talk it through because I'm just thinking about it lately. In computers and how we, interact with computers, there's many layers of what they call abstraction, and that means that like the underlying concepts are not communicated directly because it's very technical stuff. So like to make it accessible to the everyday user, you kind of find ways to make it understandable and usable. So for instance, this is like how I understand it. At the core of a computer it's all binary code, right? It's all ones and zeros. But in order to use the computer and be able to type a sentence, let alone like do any of the other crazy shit that computers do, you have to find a way to make those ones and zeros kind of come together to make different things, whether it's letters or it's mathematical equations or numbers. Like it's all staggered, right? So like I don't know what the actual equation is, but like let's say A has a value of like 1001 and B is 1011. Like there, you have to create a code in order to make it kind of understandable. And then beyond that, you have to find a way to input the code once you've figured out another formula. And that comes from input. And whenever you press like a key on the keyboard, it's not actually pressing A, it's pressing a bunch of other things that, kind of come together as what we know as letter A. So it's like, I'm kind of botching it because like I'm just getting these ideas together in my head, but like that's really interesting to me, the fact that like we did that, like people figured this shit out. Which is insane. And like to think that we play video games on a computer, like that's so next level. Like we're already in the future. That's nuts. But it inspired me, like in my New York thinking, because I started thinking like, just like we did that, like we came up with this like ridiculously complicated system of like symbols representing other things to like get to the core of, I guess, this processing unit, to be very efficient and help us with jobs and help us with everything, right? We also did that in New York. Like when you look at New York City, it's like a ridiculous amount of buildings crammed into one place, and different styles, different architectures, different purposes. The city is organized a certain way, differently in different neighborhoods. Like it's a lot of layers of complexity that have come together, and like the fact that I'm living in that kind of like pinnacle of technological and like engineering wise, like it's just like a tremendous feat. Like I get to be around that every day. Like that's a real privilege, you know. So it just reading this article and like going in circles like this, I don't know if any of that makes sense, but like all of this just seems so amazing to me. I feel like I'm like new to this city again. It's nuts. And that's what I aimed to find through motorcycles, but I actually found it through tech. And I guess motorcycles help me think about it because I go on these rides. But it's all kind of coming together now, guys, and it's like, it's refreshing. This year is good. So that's where I'm at right now, is just thinking about all that stuff. And studying, trying to understand what I read in that article, because I didn't even scratch the surface, and like all these ideas are so loosely held together in my head right now, but it's all very exciting. And yeah, I don't know, it's been a good week. A lot of ideas, a lot of things doing around. So I'm so glad I have my tinted visor, because this sun is like crazy. It's pointing right in my eyes. Like, look at that. To me, that's crazy. Look how many buildings that is. That whole skyline, that's nuts. And to think I was bored of that. Fucking, no way. No way. I mean, New York definitely has its annoyances, guys. Like, it is not a perfect city. There is so much that could be better. I mean, it never will be perfect. Like, no city that size with that many people, you can't solve anything, really. You can, like, inch towards progress, but, I mean, but is that not, like, what being human is? It's just, like, complete imperfection all the time? Like, I guess it's a more existential question, but, like, it just, you're never gonna get it right. There's too many perspectives, there's too many, there's too much traffic in this place, and I don't mean cars, I just mean there's too many things moving back and forth to ever be able to, like, really stop and, like, address whatever needs to be addressed. It's just what it is, and you kind of have to fall in love with New York for that, for its imperfections and its weirdness, and, like, it is what it is, right? Bumpy over here. Oh yeah. Oh, very windy today. neon lights. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. And his little SUV is adorable. Oh, you got the boot. You got the boot. About to pass the Apple store too. I wonder if we're gonna see anybody walking around with those goggles. Those, I think I mentioned this before. Like, it's been out for a little bit now, and like I've seen people walking around with them on the Vision, Apple Vision or whatever. Crazy. I can't believe we're like at that stage. That's nuts. I think what that headset is what Apple is trying to accomplish, is really cool, and I think it's like the first step of in that direction. This headset, obviously, I mean, it's their first go at it, and Apple always kind of drags it out for like 5 or 6. I want to say seasons, not seasons. 5 or 6 versions to kind of get the features that you really want in there. But I think it's in the right direction. Like the idea of having kind of like a computer on your head is really cool. I don't necessarily want a full-on set of goggles. Yeah, here we go. Look at that, Vision Pro. I don't want to wear a goggle or a set of goggles around, but if you could do it like in this, in like a helmet, and have it projected on the front screen, that would be awesome. I don't think having like a non-see-throughable visor would be good, but I just like if you could project some screens and some stats and stuff up there, that would be amazing. And if they could smooth out the details, that'd be great. And like I think there's definitely a place for what they're trying to do, and it's like the next step, like really cool shit. So I just think it's a little weird to walk around with a set of goggles and like be kind of at risk of being blind at any given moment if that thing stops working. I don't like that. But you know, that's where we're at, I guess. Getting cold. Really cool though. Actually, that guy Marquise did an awesome review that was like really gave you an idea of what it was like. Then Casey Neistat's video, although it was funny, it was pretty cool. Walked around New York City with the things on and talked about his experience. That was interesting. So anyway, I'm coming up on the Dainese store, guys. I guess that will be my video for the day. Yeah, this is long overdue, but we hit 1,000 subscribers. That was a while ago now. Like, wanted to say thank you to everybody, to all you loyal subscribers who have been following this kind of weird, recently somewhat boring journey that I've been on. But yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate everybody who follows along. It really means a lot to me, guys. And yeah, that's all I got for today. So thanks for tuning in. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Oh, cold as fuck. Yo! Oh. Alright. Time to see what I can afford.